Hey everyone, welcome back to Anime Sekai Podcast. I'm your host, Mikan.
And I am your other host, Ichigo. What's up, guys?
Join us this week as we discuss the best generation of anime. Hey guys, welcome back.
What's up, guys? Welcome back.
Welcome back. So this week we are going to be talking about I'm kind of excited for this. We're going to be talking about the best generation of anime.
Yes. Is it the
Ooh.
80s? Who holds the crown
Mhm.
for having
80s to current. Oh man.
to current? Except what we're gonna do for 2020, because obviously we haven't hit the,
Yeah.
the 2030s yet, but
Yeah.
we can only we can't count the 2020s. So
Yeah,
sorry,
we'll just
guys.
give some of our tops, but yeah, we're not gonna count the 2020s yet because we're not
Yeah.
even halfway there yet.
No. We're not.
Although it'll be there in a blink of an eye because time is moving so
Ugh,
fast.
it is. It's been so long, like,
I know, but it's
now
also so short.
yeah, it's been short but long at the same time. So, for Mikan and I, we've gone through, what, 3 generations now of
Mhm.
anime? The '90s,
Oh,
2000s, and
man.
2010s. Yeah, we've gone
Whew.
through we're showing our age, but we've gone through
Mhm.
3 generations
Oh.
of
We're still
anime.
young. We're still young by
We're
in
still
heart by
young.
heart. But starting off, like, okay, so we're gonna start off with the 80s.
Okay.
Ichigo, like, what do you have any I have a list of, like, my tops, and then I do have some little mentions here and there, but, like, what do you think of when you think of 80s? Like, what is your top 1 or top 3 or whatever you have?
When I think of '80s, I actually think of Studio Ghibli because I know a lot
Mhm.
of the
I'm right
OG
there with
Studio
you.
Ghibli movies came out
Yes.
during that time. So, like, Castle in the Sky, Nausicaa, I believe,
Oh,
also
yes.
came out in the
Mhm.
'80s, and Totoro, I believe,
Oh,
also
yeah.
came out in the '80s. So those
Grave of the
3.
Fireflies.
Yeah, Grave of the
Ooh,
Fireflies.
that one's
So, Ghibli was putting out a lot of movies in the '80s.
Mhm.
So typically for me, and I wasn't born in the '80s, so I didn't actually live through '80s anime, but as I got older and I was going back, to think about what anime came out in the '80s, a lot of the Ghibli movies popped up. And I believe there is another one that's like a Mahou Shoujo type anime. I believe it's Creamy Mummy, maybe?
Creamy Mummy. What?
Maybe not. Um, I've lost it, but, also, which I actually forgot, Dragon Ball started
Yes.
in the '80s.
86. That's crazy. I
Mhm.
cannot believe it's that old.
So anybody, and this is, like, obviously the origin story for Goku for anybody that
Mhm.
has never seen Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball started in the '80s, and then
That's
you have
insane.
some classics like, Akira.
Yes, that's on my top.
Yeah, Appleseed, Ranma, One Half.
Mhm.
So
Saint
'80s had a
Seiya.
lot of good OGs.
Oh, yeah. I think Captain Tsubasa. I also have, like, what is it? Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, which I believe was, like, the first entry of the Gundam franchise.
Yep.
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, like, so you got a lot of these old classics.
Mhm. Oh, Creamy Mommy, that's what I was thinking of for the,
Ah, Creamy Mommy.
yeah, for the shoujo or, like, magical girl, Creamy Mommy. So, couple of good '80s, but, once the '80s is kinda done and over with, then we get
Ooh, what the
we
90s.
get to the '90s.
Oh, man. What a time, what a
Probably a
time.
lot of our listeners' origin story, period,
Yes. Oh,
here.
man. So many good ones. So many good ones
Yes.
particularly the end of the '90s, I would have to say, like, for me. Ooh,
Oh, what you got for the
what a
'90s?
so for the '90s, my top, of course, Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter was from
Yep.
1999, which is crazy. Also, One Piece. was one of the first it was the first big
Mhm.
3. It came out 1999, which is crazy. And for me, it would have to be like, oh, Princess Momonoke, Digimon. I know Pokemon also came out, but I was more of a Digimon girl.
Yep.
And then Neon Genesis Evangelion. Oh
Mhm.
man, so many. Like I know what's on yours.
Sailor
Definitely
Moon.
Cardcaptor Sakura and Sailor Moon. I was gonna say
Sailor
that.
Moon is definitely on my
100%.
list.
I feel like that's just in big bold letters. You have Sailor Moon 90s.
I promise you, if anybody's like, "What's your top anime from the '90s?" Sailor Moon. Like, they won't
I feel
even
like
finish the question. It's just
I feel like it's
Sailor
top
Moon.
anime in general.
For
It's
me,
Sailor
yeah.
Moon. Yeah. I
Sailor
mean, you also have
Moon.
I think,
Um,
what else did you have? Rurouni Kenshin?
yeah, Rurouni Kenshin,
Mhm.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yu Yu Hakusho,
Uh-huh.
Berserk, Initial D, Detective
I'm
Conan.
trying to think. Well, and then you've got some more Ghibli kinda sprinkled in there, so Whisper of the
Yeah.
Heart, Only Yesterday, um,
I
Princess
think Totoro actually came
Mononoke.
in 90 90s actually, I
Totoro,
think,
I
right?
no, Totoro I thought was '87.
No, it was like 1990.
Really?
1990. I don't think it wasn't that old. Granted, 1990 is still or is it 1980? I can't remember.
I thought Totoro was
1988 or 19
19
I think it's 1988. I think you're right. I think it actually came
yeah,
out 1988.
1988, 89. Well, yeah. So late '80s for Totoro. But yeah, for the '90s, and then we have you said Neon Genesis Evangelion,
Mhm. Classic.
Ghost in the Shell,
Oh, yes. Another
Perfect Blue,
classic. Yep.
Trigun, so and then, like, so
Trigon,
many
yeah.
others.
Love that.
So
Honestly,
many
love that
others.
time. It was a really good time.
It was.
Granted, we were pretty
And
young,
then
but
we were young when a lot of these started. So, like, the original
Mhm.
Sailor Moon started technically in Japan. I wanna say the first episode might have even aired late '80s, early
Ooh.
'90s.
I could see that honestly because I do feel like it was really old. Like, I feel like it's up there with Dragon Ball.
When did it officially start? That is a really good question. 92. First aired in Japan in '92. Okay, so it's definitely
Okay,
'90s.
so it's
But
it's
yeah,
early 90s.
Dragon Ball was '80s.
I'm still surprised Dragon Ball is older than Sailor Moon. Like, I don't know what it is, but the concept just is I feel like Sailor Moon is so feels so old.
Well, and for Americans, a lot of these shows aired in the '90s. So a lot of people don't necessarily know that, like, technically Dragon Ball was an '80s anime, not a '90s anime
Yeah,
for
and a lot
Japan.
of these yeah, and a lot of these start to come into America, I feel like, in, like, 2000s. Like, a lot of them
Mhm.
I don't think a lot of channels were still like, yet playing that much anime in the '90s.
For
Think
America?
yeah, it was
Yeah,
hard to
no.
find.
It was either, Cartoon Network or the ones that I remember, I don't know about everybody else, but pretty much Cartoon Network or 4Kids.
Mhm.
I think those were really the only 2 stations that I had that I distinctly remember watching anime on.
Yeah. It had to be, like, mid-90s, may and, like, probably or maybe around the time we were born.
Maybe me, I don't know about So
Is your
so
90s
yeah.
just Sailor Moon? Like, it's just a big
My
you're t
90s consisted of, Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, Rurouni
Mhm.
Kenshin,
Yeah.
Trigun, Cowboy Bebop.
Okay, so the ones we mentioned. Okay.
Yeah, the ones we mentioned,
Yeah.
Yu Hakusho, yeah.
Yeah.
Those were those were my go-tos. Those are the
Oh,
ones I
yeah.
constantly also although I can't remember exactly what year Tenchi Muyo started, but I do remember watching it in the
Ah, Tenchi I feel like
90s.
that would ooh, Tenchi Muyo might be pretty old, actually. I don't know, it's gotta
Tenchi
be either
Muyo.
maybe early 90s.
Let's see.
It feels old, though, you know
I
what I
It does feel old. It might have started in the '90s. Yeah, 1992. So that's also another
Okay.
'90s anime, that I watched. I probably had like, to be honest with you, there were a lot of shows that we watched in the '90s that, like, Probably kids our age ain't had no business to be watching,
Yeah.
like
No, for real. I mean, you think about even Dragon Ball, like, it's very inappropriate, a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I had
Uh,
no
uh
business as a 8 to 10-year-old watching Tenchi Muyo.
yeah, or even, like, Evangelion or what is it? Berserk.
Yeah.
There were people that Serial Experiment Lane, I remember that one. That one's traumatizing for a child. Yes, that was not something to be watched. I feel
Or,
like the later years became more appropriate, you know what I mean? Maybe because they catered it more to children, but yeah,
well,
those
I guess
90s
they
and
realized
80s
how
were not.
popular it was starting to become, so
Yeah.
they're like, we can't show this to children."
Mhm.
Or even, Ghost in the Shell too, like, Ghost in the Shell,
Yes, that was a
when sh
grown-up show.
that was definitely a
That
grown-up show.
that was for grown-ups.
There's still a couple of scenes in Ghost in the Shell that I was like,
You're like, "Wait a minute. I feel like I'm too young for this, but okay."
"Why ain't she got no clothes on?" Like
Is that where it started? Is that where it all began?
yeah, like, where her clothes at? Is she supposed? I mean, like, I know she's an android, but don't androids wear clothes? Like
That's how you got used to you were like, "Oh, no, I don't mind fan service.
Yeah.
I've seen worse as a child. I'm
Yeah.
good."
That's probably what started my downhill. It's like, "Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not that bad."
I think
Or
the
if anything
violent shows were what
yeah.
started for me. I was like, "Oh, no, his arm fell off. Oh, no, his head is gone. Okay."
These people walking around with guns just shooting people.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
oh my
Oh,
gosh.
and the art style too was very kind of grown up-ish, you know? It
Mhm.
it it was kind of yeah, they look like grown people, not kids.
They were definitely grown people and not children. Sailor Moon, if you think about it, Sailor Moon had on a short skirt, and she was a middle school student
Oh,
who
man.
technically, if you're thinking about it, I'm just throwing out facts here. Sailor Moon was a middle school student who was dating somebody
Mhm.
who was out of high school.
Mhm.
They had more than 4 years between them.
Yeah.
Nobody questioned it at the time, that was normal. Or when Bulma met Goku for the first time, like, her
Oh
thought
my
was,
god.
"Okay, to get what I want, I'm gonna lift my skirt and show off a little skin."
Yeah. Yeah. Until I got older, I didn't realize how perverted Dragon Ball
Mhm.
was. I was like, "Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Is this why
Again,
all
it
the
gets
young
worse
boys are
with Master
watching it?"
Roshi. No. They were
I was like,
watching
"Now
it
I
not for
get
the
why all
fan
these little
service, they were
kids."
watching it for the fights. But if you think about
Sure.
it, Dragon Ball was, like, the perfect combination of fighting and fan service.
That's true. That's true.
Just saying,
Oh, man.
just
Too good,
saying.
too good.
But unfortunately, as the '90s have ended, we are now in the 2000s.
Ooh, the age of the big 3.
Yep,
Oh, man.
the years of the big 3, Bleach,
What a time.
Naruto,
What a
and
time to
One
be
Piece at
alive.
this point was already going, so it just
Mhm.
kinda
I mean, it just
but I feel
started,
like
like,
it definitely
99.
yeah, it blew up. Definitely
Oh,
blew up.
and we had FMA, Brotherhood. Ooh.
Inuyasha.
Yeah.
For Ghibli, it was Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away,
Mhm.
The Cat Returns.
Yep.
Those were pretty big for Ghibli. What else did we have?
We had Code Geass, Orang High School Host Club,
Yep.
Guren Lagann, Furikuri,
Death Note.
Death Note, Nana, Hell Girl. Those are my personal that
Did
I like.
Nana come out in the 2000s? Oh my
2006. It's
gosh.
old, which is crazy.
Oh my
I
gosh.
know. Can you believe it? It's insane.
No. Gintama.
Yep. Samurai Champloo, Monster. Oh, such a good time.
Afro Samurai.
Oh, yeah. What are your tops for that time?
Inuyasha is the number one that comes
Inuyasha.
to
Uh-huh.
Inuyasha
I should have
and
guessed.
yeah, Full Metal Alchemist, the original.
No, Brotherhood.
Not
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood, cause nah, bro, cause we not count Brotherhood. Um, at least I'm not, I should, but I'm not at this point. We'll have a discussion about that later, but
Tisk tisk.
um,
Yeah.
Oran High School Host Club, those,
Oh,
and I guess
so
Nana,
good.
cause I really love Nana.
Nana, that was
Mhm.
really good.
Also Chobits, that
Honestly,
was the year
oh, yeah.
of really good, shoujo too. Like, that was the
It was a
time.
lot, actually.
Uh-huh. There was a bunch. Honey and Clover. Um, I I always mispronounce this. Ai Yori Aoshi, I believe is the name. That's, like, really old. Um, which I think that one came out in 2002 to 2004,
I'm still in denial about how much time has passed. This is crazy.
and it feels like it's just been moving so fast.
Oh my
Like, I
god,
really
it really
cannot.
has. I'm telling you, after 2020, I don't know what happened. Like, it just it's it's going too fast.
Girl, after 2010, I don't know what happened. Like, I blinked and
It's
all of a
true.
sudden, you know, 14 years have passed, and I'm like, "Dang,
Where is my youth?
it's
Oh,
gone.
it's
It's gone." Oh, but also that was the year, Kyoto Animation kept putting out, not year, but, like, years that Kyoto Animation kept putting out some really good anime. So you have Haruhi,
Mm.
Suzumiya,
Oh, yeah, how do he yes.
the anime that forever breaks your heart every single time you watch it, Clannad.
Yeah, I was about to say Clan exact. Full moon wo sagashite.
Ah,
That's the oldie, but a goodie.
yep. There's just so many.
There is 2000s. Oh, man. We were getting at the age where it's like we could actually, like, look for anime and actually watch it and know how,
Mhm,
like, kinda how shows work, you know? So
mhm.
you could really get into it. Oh, man.
You knew what websites to watch it on so
Yeah.
that you could kinda stream around the same time Japan was streaming. Because at
Yep.
that time, 4Kids wasn't really showing that much anime anymore, and Cartoon Network was only pulling out, like, the big stuff, so, like, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, um, the early 2000s that was on TV for Cartoon Network.
Mhm.
You've got continuation of, like, Cowboy Bebop and,
Yeah. And the
you know.
internet was becoming a thing, you know? Like,
Yeah,
it was like an actual thing, we could kind of start to use, you know? Because 'cause Imma be real, 90s was, a little difficult,
it was.
so
It
the
was very
2000s were starting
difficult.
to
I That's really where, like, a lot
like, I think
of
nine
anime fans were starting
starting
to
to be
just
born
kinda.
like, not born, but, like, they were getting into it, you know?
Yeah. It's like, "Oh, man, I really like these shows. What else can I find?"
Let's torrent them. Let's wait 50 hours for one episode.
Or let's go to this
The struggle
website
was
and wait
real.
2 weeks before the next episode comes out
Yeah.
because
Or
somebody
hope
is
we're not downloading a
translating it.
virus.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, man.
You had to rely on somebody's translation for these shows.
Yes. Yes. Well, actually, I didn't because I do Japanese.
I didn't at the well, I knew
The
only a
the
little
the
bit, so I was
little bit,
struggling.
yeah. That was the only
There
good
were
thing. I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
I don't need translations."
There were a couple of times where I was like, this translation is wrong, like, my
Mhm.
textbook don't have this as a good translation, like, I
My textbook.
who wrote this?"
Oh, but thank you for all
Uh,
those people who were posting it up and putting an effort to do this. We appreciate
yes.
it.
That
You
helped us
made us
get
into the
over a
people we are
large hump.
today.
Yes,
Mhm.
definitely. But, then you start getting more streaming services as time moves on and
Yeah.
start, you know, Crunchyroll comes out, Funimation comes out.
Mhm. The
RIP
world's
Funimation
changing.
because you are no longer
Oh, yeah.
open.
Goodbye.
um, yeah, the world is changing, and we are now into the 2010s.
2010s. Oh, man. Still pretty good anime coming out during this time, I would say.
Yeah.
It's like a new
Um,
generation.
it's definitely a new generation. I would say, if I'm being 100% honest, there weren't too many anime that I clearly, distinctly remember watching in the 2010s, other than,
Really?
yeah, like,
Because you
I
were
would
not
say,
on the
like, that.
Attack on Titan hype train. That's why. You missed
No.
out, okay? You missed out. The whole world was on there and you were not. You should have boarded
I
the
was
train.
not. I did not.
You should have.
I was about to say, because everybody was into Attack on Titan.
You were supposed to board the train. Why?
I was
Gosh.
too busy studying for
Being a good
school,
student.
trying to be a good student,
Oh,
hanging out with you in Japan.
oh.
You
That's
know,
true.
that's 2010s. I distinctly remember shows like Food Wars, which started in 2015.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Hunter x
yeah, no,
Hunter. Well, you weren't on that
Hunter x
train
Hunter.
either. Tokyo Ghoul. Now you're on the
I did
train.
watch a little bit. No,
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't on Tokyo
Yeah, you weren't
Ghoul.
on to Noragami. Oh, that was so good.
Oh, I was definitely on that train.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Parasite. You should have been on that train, but I know you
Nope,
weren't.
mm-mm. And I think that's
Demon
probably
Slayer?
why. Yeah, I was on Demon Slayer, but Demon Slayer was,
Yeah.
like, literally the last
The
year of
last
the
year,
2010s.
2019. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel
My
like at the
Hero?
start, nope,
Oh, you weren't?
mm-mm.
Oh,
Well,
really?
I watched a
Later
few
on.
episodes of My Hero after it came out, like, after it
Mhm.
started, so a little bit later,
Yeah, I think
but I never
2010s.
finished it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's still going, but I feel 20 because like One Punch Man, Vinland Saga, so I feel like 2010s maybe wasn't your vibe type anime.
No.
It
Well, I
was
mean,
heavy
Violet
and more.
Evergarden
That's true.
came out in 2018, but that's still, like, closer to the end.
Yeah.
But I just 2010 was just not, it wasn't rocking with me in 2010.
Okay, okay. Because you were not on the proper hype train.
I mean, I was, but
You were not on Attack on Titan, okay?
that's okay. I was definitely into Noragami,
Mhm. That was a good
when
one.
Black Clover came out. Did Black Clover start in 2010 or, like, in the 2010s?
Oh, no,
I think it
I
did.
think did it start in 2010? Wait, I thought it was later. Maybe end of
I don't
2010?
know. But I did start watching Black Clover when it came out. Uh, Doctor Stone? Did Doctor Stone start in
No,
2010?
I think you're thinking to
Nope, I think Doctor
is it
Stone
Dr. Stone?
started 2010. Yeah.
What? That old?
Yeah. Hold on, cause there was a break. I remember that there was a break. It could have been the manga that may have started in 2010, but I'm pretty sure.
I know the 2nd season came out 2022. Wait, no. When did Dr. Stone? Oh, 2019. So end
2019,
of
yeah,
mhm.
at the very end. So, like, towards the end, and then you
Or at least in
have,
the US, I
Death
think.
Parade,
Oh, I love Death
that
Parade,
anime. Yeah, so I've watched, I remember watching a lot of different things,
but it just
but
wasn't, like, your time in a sense.
yeah, like, that, I feel like that generation was just not really,
Mhm.
it wasn't me,
It wasn't you.
obviously. Like, I can't remember a whole lot of shoujo that came out that I really enjoyed
Mhm.
during that time period. I know I watched some. I
Yeah.
don't really
Yeah,
remember
because
them.
all of the ones I have, none of them are shoujo on that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably not your time.
Mm-mm.
That's understandable.
Which is rare, you know? I feel like
Yeah.
with each generation, I was able to find, well, obviously minus the 80s because I wasn't born yet, but
Mhm.
I feel like I was able to find something
Yeah. That, like, you
from
remember from
each
that
time
time.
period. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't remember a whole lot from the 2010s,
Understandable.
you know.
2020s? We're still not fully there yet, but I have to say,
Yeah.
I feel like although so far, I know it's not we're almost halfway, but not quite. I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen is carrying
Yep.
this whole decade,
Yep. It's everywhere.
right?
It is literally
It's
everywhere.
literally everywhere,
I would
and I'm
agree
not
with
mad
that
about it.
sentiment. Well, I would say, although the anime technically started in 2019, so literally like the last year of 2010s, but Demon
Mhm.
Slayer as well has been kind of carrying, well, not carrying a lot, but like definitely helping to carry the torch for 2020s, as well as One Piece Fifth Gear,
Oh, yeah.
and then Bleach Millennium War, which we're only 4 years into the
That
2020s, so
yeah, there's still some time,
mhm.
but, oh, man, I do have to say, it's I need more I don't know, I've just have not I feel like I'm not getting what we used to get, for me personally,
For the
so
90s?
far. Yeah. From the '90s, from the other
Yes!
decades, what would you say is your favorite for you personally?
Which decade?
Yeah.
Um, I would have to say, quite honestly, 90s and the 2000s decades,
Okay.
like,
Okay.
up to 2010, just
Mhm.
because there's so much anime that was produced at that time that just feels so nostalgic for me
Mhm.
that I'm like, "This is why I became an anime fan." Like,
I
this is
see.
why I'm an anime fan. Whereas, like, I feel like once we hit 2020, there was a huge boom in people becoming anime fans,
Yeah.
primarily because of COVID.
Yeah, people need something to do when watch.
Right. But
Mhm.
it's quite literally a lot of popular anime that came in late 20s, 10s
Mhm.
into, like, now,
Yeah.
which there I'm not knocking. And so now we see an increase in, people are, what I like to say, playing catch up.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people I know are, like, going back to watch shows like, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which
Yes.
I'm not knocking, but hey, if you watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, you gotta watch the original anime adaptation too,
We're
okay?
gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that.
Mikan's not gonna agree with me, but I'm just saying, me personally, yeah, we're gonna have a conversation about Full Metal Alchemist.
See, funny enough, for me, I think, like, my favorite time would have to actually be the 2010s.
Really?
Because the shows I love from,
Mm.
like, the '90s were mostly
Mm,
started in 1999, so it's pretty close to already, like, 2000s, and the shows that started in 2000 were, like, great, but I feel like my favorite moments, I have to say, were, like, mid-2000s, like, 2005, 2006. A lot of them, like, the big 3 hit some peak moments, and then, like,
mm,
early 2010s. Like, for instance, Bleach, 2005, 2006, it was Soul Society arc. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. That was bomb. And then in 2010, 2011, we were reaching the end of, like, Arankara arc, which was, like, the final showdown, the culmination in many ways that felt like the end of the show that we've been waiting
mhm,
for all these years. Bam. For One Piece, favorite episode aired, like, 2006, similar time, and I feel like
mhm,
that was also the thick of Enies Lobby, which was, like, what most people say is, like, the turning point for One Piece, like, where they realize it's, like, the best show ever. But then the whole debacle with Ace happened in early 2011, and that was a hype moment. Same thing with
mm,
Naruto. I'm telling you, mid 2005, that was, like, the first epic fight between Naruto and Sasuke and before he leaves. And then 2010, 2011, the stuff with Akatsuki really started to go down and Asuma got killed and all that. Like, I focus on the big 3 because they were really, like, the animes even non-anime watchers were watching at the time, and they
yeah,
started to air in America, like, mid-2000s,
mhm,
and I was already watching them because I was a crazy anime fan and I knew Japanese, but the hype train was really started in the 2000s to, like, early 2010s. Oh, man, like, those times, ooh, those few good years we had, let me just tell you, oh, and then out of nowhere, like in the 2010s, Attack on Titan came, and honestly, that was the first time in a while I had seen a show that boggled my mind. It was new and interesting and mysterious, which was, like, kind of amazing. And I don't know why it got so popular in America. I mean, I kinda get it, but I also don't. I guess because it was, like, the tail end it was, like, on a high on the tail end of the big 3 coming to a close.
Yeah.
But my god, girl, that time being an anime fan was everything, especially because I was a shonen girl. Everybody, like, knew what was going on, and everyone was asking, like, "What's happening with Naruto next? Like, what's happening with One Piece? What's going on with Bleach? Like, what is going on?" It was like, "Oh my god." I was like, "I wish I could relive that time between, like, mid-2000s to, like, early 2010s. Oh my gosh. Take me back,
Mhm.
please. Please.
I
I miss
mean,
it."
I totally get it. For me, it's definitely the 90s because I love the 90s vibe, the 90s aesthetic. It's just it's nostalgia, but then the hype and even now, like, I have a couple of Sailor Moon purses that I carry around, and people will stop me and be like, "Oh my gosh, that's from Sailor Moon. I remember watching that as a kid." And I'm like, "Me too." It's those types of shows, and then I see other people walking around with, like, old school, um, anime T-shirts. So, like, I saw
Mhm.
somebody recently that had on a Cowboy Bebop
Ooh,
shirt,
nice.
and I was I'm not the type of person that's like, "Oh, do you know that show?" Like, I
You
don't do
don't
that.
test yeah.
I don't test
They might just be
nobody.
wearing it as a fashion because I do feel like there's a lot of anime
Right.
merch and people just think they're cool,
Right.
which is fine, that's
Which
cool,
is
it is
yeah,
cool.
that's totally fine, but, so I don't go around testing people's knowledge, like, "Do
Do
you
you
really know
know?
that show?" But,
Don't
you know,
disrespect Cowboy
um,
Bebop.
"You weren't old enough to watch this show." Like, I don't do that. I don't do none of that. But, it's just it's interesting to see, like, how big it has gotten from the time that we grew up to now. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yes.
And I'm curious to know what everybody else thinks.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
We want to know, what's your favorite like, what do you think is the best generation of anime? Guys, let us know. Fight
mhm.
in the comments. If you are a '90s baby, fight in the comments.
I feel like all the 90s people are just gonna take over, to be 100% honest.
Hopefully. Hopefully. I'm honestly curious to know, especially with younger generation now, like for those of you guys who are getting into anime, and who maybe weren't born in the '90s or even the 2000s. No, you'd still be too young if you were born in the 2010s. But no, let us know because we are interested. I'm very interested.
Mhm.
And also be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, as always, at Anime Sekai Podcast. And we will be here next week, guys. We hope you enjoyed. Love you guys.
Thanks so much, guys. Check you out next week. Bye.
Bye.